Space, the final frontier. Join us for a bold conversation. Our prime directive? To recap our favorite Star Trek shows, both new and old. To engage in debate about all things Trek. Prepare to energize with phasers set to stun.
Welcome back, listeners, to Phasers Set to Stun, where we continue to show our love for everything Star Trek in this continuing series from A Film by Podcast, focusing on everything in the ever-expanding universe of Star Trek, covering television, movies, animation, directors, books, merchandise, and much more. Joining me on this time travel mission back to 1992 is our core Trek crew, and I'm your host, Wayne Whited.
I'm David Burns.
And I'm Scott Hoffman.
And in this episode, we will continue our discussion with what we like to call Starter Treks, a chosen list for first-time viewers. This spoiler-free list focuses on the top 10 episodes from each season for people diving into the next generation for the first time, showing them a great place to start and what to warp away from. With Starter Treks, we simplify the menu with choices that give the new listeners a taste from each season. After listening to this episode, you can find the course we plotted for you in the convenient lists located in the description below. All right, we've talked our way through the first 5 seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation. We've discussed our likes and our dislikes, chatted about the characters, and brought you tidbits and behind-the-scenes facts to keep you interested. But we love hearing from you and what you like or don't like. So if you'd like to comment or add what you think is your top 10, please do so, because we would love to hear from you. All right, Scott, what are we discussing in this episode?
So, at the start of season 6, one of the things I want to kind of talk about just briefly without spoilers, which should be easy and quick, is Time's Arrow, the resolution of that. There's differing opinions on it. I'm like devouring the Mark Twain character. And I think the whole concept is fascinating. Mm-hmm. And I think it's one of the rare times when they didn't break the prime directive with a time traveler. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. Highly recommend that anybody who watched the first definitely finish out Time's Arrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a fantastic second part. I mean, it's not the best of all of them, of course not, but it was still entertaining, still fun. Come on, Commander Riker with the role he has in this is hysterical.
Oh, yeah.
Too bad we didn't get Riker dressed up as Mark Twain.
Right.
Hearing him do that accent.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Wayne.
Oh, I think it was a success. I mean, it's a fun episode, and it's neat seeing the characters out of costume and in the past. Plenty of action, comedy. I really like the scene between Riker and Crusher in the hospital. I think you don't see the two of them together very much, and it was just a neat scene. And plus, we got Guinan, a lot more of her. She's practically takes a main role in this episode.
Yeah. We get to see a little bit of her past, the connection between her and Picard, which I think is really interesting.
Yes.
Yep. And I do love the mini production of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That theater kind of things will come up a lot in this.
Come on, LaForge
season.
holding the book upside down.
Yeah.
That was like, oh man, seriously?
It's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And I was gonna say my favorite one is Mark Twain calling Worf a werewolf. Come on.
That
was hysterical.
I feel like Q should have popped in and gone like, see? I'm not that far off. So, well, to start off our list, just to be clear, Wayne, you'd already set it up. We're talking about the 10 episodes to watch in order of appearance, not necessarily order of preference. So our number one isn't the very best. We're just talking you through in order. Right, Wayne?
That's right. And, with season 6, it's very important to remember that that this year was the premiere of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and it had a big impact on the season. It debuted in January 3rd, 1993. That was during the season hiatus that they always had in between the winter break. This was important because, I mean, this is the first time we've ever had 2 Star Trek series on at the same time. I mean, this was unbelievable and
huge.
Oh yeah, it was huge, and and it was great because we had crossovers with it for the first time ever. You had crossovers between the two, and also another important thing that goes along with that is we lost a lot of secondary characters from this show. We lost Cole Meany and Rosalind Chow. They went over to Deep Space Nine. We saw their child, Molly, Hannah Haiti. She first appeared in the season and then went over to Deep Space Nine. Yep. Plus, this is Whoopi Goldberg's final season in the show. She didn't appear in season 7, and we won't see her again until the films. Michelle Forbes, this is her final as a regular secondary cast member. She comes back one more time, but we're whittling down the secondary cast to leave just our main 7 for the final year.
We're getting close. I know.
And at this time it felt like it was just like Christmas for a Star Trek
right
fan. Can't wait to talk about DS9. So that'll be
and at this time too, we didn't know Star Trek: The Next Generation only had 1 more year. We didn't know that.
No. I mean, 7 years became a standard, but at that point, no, you're right, we didn't.
We
didn't. All right, let's dive right into the episodes we've selected. We've got a season full of holodeck hijinks, romance for Picard, 2 Q appearances, Worf's ponytail, and a deadly alien dog. And we're going to be talking to them about... Let me skip that. So let's fly our shuttlecraft right into our first pick. And Scott, you have the honor of talking about that one.
Great. So our first one is called Relics. Our first pick revolves around a pair of engineering marvels that shouldn't be possible in this era. One is a Dyson sphere, which is basically an inverted planet built around a star. All the living spaces are on the inside, thriving on a constant source of solar energy. On the outside, it basically looks like the Death Star. But this abandoned relic of a structure hosts our second engineering marvel, Captain Montgomery Scott from the original series. Preserved in a trademark Mr. Scott rigged transporter, he's the same age that we see him in the Generations movie. He finds himself feeling as obsolete as his original Enterprise in this new future, and wondering where he fits in. When the Dyson sphere threatens the Enterprise, it'll take a blend of something old and something new to save the day. Written by Ronald D. Moore and Brandon Braga, directed by Alexander Singer. This is, I had to basically spoil that Mr. Scott comes back in this one because I don't think we could spend any time without talking about him.
We couldn't.
In digging into some interesting facts, so I wasn't aware that the Dyson sphere was a real theory that apparently was postulated in 1959, and when Dyson was able to see a copy of this episode, he said it was fun to watch, and even though it was all nonsense, it was still quite a good piece of cinema. I disagree with the nonsense part, but I mean, it's Dyson's theory. And I had forgotten that James Doohan, am I saying that name right?
Yeah.
James Doohan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The actor who portrays Mr. Scott, is missing his right middle finger.
Yep.
That was lost in the World War II D-Day invasion of Normandy.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
I know,
Absolutely
isn't it?
Fascinating to me. I know there were a bunch of stand-in hands that they had done for some close-up work, but similar to Radar O'Reilly in MASH, I keep forgetting that there was something that they were purposefully trying to hide about his hand.
Yeah.
This episode is so much fun.
It is.
Oh, it is.
Absolutely. I think my first favorite part is finding out how he was able to keep himself alive in a transporter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Keeping him in the buffer. That was fantastic.
With 2% degradation, and that's it?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Poor Franklin, though. Poor Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
When don't forget, too, the original sound of the transporter engaging. When the beam back, that was fantastic that they went that route. Oh, I love that. When you hear that sound, you're like, yes! It brings back so many memories.
And the effects are the original, too.
Yeah.
Yep. There was kind of a mini theory that popped into my head, and I can't go into it, but I think the two of you know where I'm going with this. The fact that he had 2% degradation, I wonder if that impacted his memory, because he does ask about something that comes up in a later movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it had been a while since I've seen this episode, but when he went to the holodeck and went onto the bridge, and that was just heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really, really was. When he was looking around, looking at the different chairs and and saluting them basically, with the drink and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, dude. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, that drink he's having, that Aldebaran whiskey, that's actually high C Ecto Cooler.
That's fantastic.
But
it is great.
You're right. That is probably the highlight of the episode. That scene where he goes onto the holodeck, and to make it clear, they didn't actually build that set.
No,
they just built part of it. So, like the captain's chair and the navigation console, and then a little bit of the wall. They actually used footage from some of the original episodes and green screened it in. They just didn't have the money to build a whole set.
That dialogue between Picard and Scotty about their first ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was fantastic. Just listening to them and just knowing the history of all of those two characters.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And there's also, because I have to point this out, there's a big boo-boo in this episode. And the producers actually acknowledged this, but right at the end, when they're beaming Scotty and LaForge off of the ship, the shields are still up. Something they shouldn't be able to do.
No. Yeah. Oops. I didn't even notice that, Wayne. So yeah, good catch.
Scotty had to have something rigged or something like that.
Yeah, we'll just give it to Scotty. Yeah. Give him the credit for that. Yeah.
Give him just a line of dialogue and say, "That's how we did it."
That's how we did it. Sure.
All right, let's move on to our second pick, and that's yours, David.
The episode called Rascals. Directed by Adam Nimoy, written by Allison Hawk. Picard, Ro, Guinan, and Keiko are returning to the Enterprise when their shuttle gets into serious trouble. The Enterprise has to do an emergency transport to get them off of it, but comes with consequences. The four are beamed on board safely, but find themselves turned back into their pre-adolescent selves, causing confusion among everyone. As they are trying to figure out how to get the four crew members back to their normal selves, the ship is suddenly attacked and boarded by the Ferengi, making an already difficult situation even worse. This was a fun episode, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like the best episodes of Star Trek or anything like that, but I really enjoyed this. One of the biggest one is David Birkin, who plays the young Jean-Luc in this episode. We talked about him in the episode Family, where he played Rene, the nephew to Jean-Luc. And now he gets to play Jean-Luc. I think that was a really neat casting that they did here. I think all the kids did really good. They felt like the adult characters that they were portraying. Every one of them did good. The only thing that I found weird, and I don't know if you guys would agree with me on this, is the voice of young Guinan.
Yeah, sounded like ADR. Am I the
only one on this?
It did sound like ADR. Yeah,
it had to have been.
Well, that young actress, what's her? Isis Carmen Jones. Yeah. She actually played a younger version of Whoopi Goldberg in Sister Act. So
yeah,
I don't know. They must have saw something there, but I agree with you. It does sound like it was redubbed.
Yeah, it had to have been because it felt so off every time she was talking. But I thought all of them did really good. I love the fact that Guinan really took advantage of this situation.
Yeah.
Beginning to be a kid again and just, bringing Ro out, to let her experience that kid again, because she didn't get to experience that when she was. And she explains that in the episode, what she had to go through as a kid. She doesn't like being back there again. But the fact that Guinan got to bring that out in her, I thought that was fantastic. The whole jumping on the bed and all that stuff was cool.
Well, think about it. I mean, think if you had the chance of being a kid again, what would you do? I think I'd do the same thing they would, have fun.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
so
I love the what you mentioned about bringing more out of Ro, because just thinking about her character as being somebody who has been in prison, is basically looked down on by everybody in Starfleet.
Yeah.
And she has this unique opportunity on the Enterprise to change her perception of Starfleet, or what Starfleet can be, right? This microcosm of a family on the ship, and her ability to, thrive and be the kind of person that she wants to be, the kind of officer that she wants to be. And I think there are a lot of important moments for her in that regard.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of good parts of this. And we talk about the comedic beats that we have done before. And I know we did it last season. But the whole time when they were trying to get the children's computer to cooperate with them and how they kept getting their response from the computer. And it was like, do you know how to spell Enterprise?
I love the design of that. The little using the fish as the interface. I love that.
Yes. Yep. It was so good. And then the whole, when Picard had to act like a kid and blow up to the Ferengi.
Yeah.
So many good scenes in this episode.
Oh yeah, and he hugs Riker, Dad.
Yeah,
he's my number one dad.
My number one dad. So good.
Oh yeah, it is, and this episode isn't forgotten because during the fourth season of Deep Space Nine, Odo brings it up to Worf as a breach of security on the Enterprise, so they never let him forget about that.
Yeah,
nice.
And this is also the first episode to be filmed when Deep Space Nine was being filmed. So this is the first one when they went into production.
Yeah, I think Ronald D. Moore, one of the producers, he was dead set against this episode. But then he said after he saw it, he thought it was completely insane at first, but then he actually loved this episode.
Well, he's right; it is insane, but it's a great and fun episode. You got to have those.
Yep.
Well, and you get to have some moments where Alexander saves the day, right? Yeah. Like, give him something good to do. There you go.
All right, our third pick is the first of the two-parters of the season, Chain of Command, written by Frank Abetamarco and Ronald D. Moore, and directed by Robert Shearer. And it originally aired on December 12th and December 19th, 1992. Picard, Worf, and Beverly Crusher are sent on a covert mission to seek and destroy a Cardassian biological weapon installation on the planet Celtris 3. Once there, they find they've been led into a trap, and while Worf and Crusher manage to escape, Picard is taken prisoner by the Cardassians and tortured to try and gain knowledge of Federation's secret plans. Meanwhile, command of the Enterprise is given over to a Captain Jellicoe, who has the task of not only dealing with the Cardassians, but a crew that find it difficult to work with their new commanding officer. Now, this episode's talked a lot in Trek circles because mainly because of the second part, but
for good reason.
I want to bring up one of the reasons why I like this two-parter, and it's the guest stars. Mm-hmm. This has got some fantastic guest stars, and top of it is David Warner.
Oh God,
he is such a phenomenal actor. He's done Star Trek twice before. He played Sajan Talbot in Star Trek V and Chancellor Gorkon in Star Trek VI. He's been in everything. I mean, you name it, he's been in it. Twin Peaks, Babylon 5, Batman the Animated Series, even Doctor Who. He's been active in film, and he's been active in audio. He was on Torchwood, Sapphire Steel, played alternate Doctor in Doctor Who audios up till last year before he passed away. And then also the second guest stars, Ronnie Cox. He's also someone who has appeared in practically everything back in the 80s. So much stuff, and he's a great actor. He comes off rather abrasive in this episode. That's the point. He's the person you're supposed to hate, and he plays it brilliantly.
Oh, and you hate him.
Oh,
you hate him.
Just you wait. Yeah.
One of the things I want to bring up too about David Warner, since we were talking about him, he learned 3 days of notice that he was getting this role.
Wow.
And he could not learn his lines in that amount of time. So they actually were holding up his cue cards behind Patrick Stewart, so he could read them. The fact that he was able to do that and give such an incredible performance in this just speaks volume of what an actor he is.
That makes me wonder, was he a replacement for another actor? I've not read that.
I'm not sure.
He would have to be.
Oh, yeah. He'd have to be.
For coming in at that last minute, that makes me curious. I wonder if who it was. If anybody knows, let us know.
Well, I'm glad he did, because he was just phenomenal in this, man. Oh, my God. And
both
the stuff
parts
that
of
Picard
this
goes
are
through.
essential.
Yeah. And what Picard has to go through in the second part just is mind-blowing. We've seen him go through so much, and I think we talked about this in the last episode of what Picard has gone through. And again, here he goes again, has to get tortured and going through all of this he has to go through. Oh my God, man!
It's gotta be, that's rough. I mean, it's incredible that he's kept his sanity, because he's been through so much over the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. But the whole friction between Jellicoe and Riker, well done. I mean, I know we all hate Jellicoe, but man, Ronnie Cox just pulled that off phenomenally. Yeah. The moment you meet him to the moment he leaves, oh my God, he just gets on your last nerve.
Well, I mean, it's a very tense situation. Not only how he approaches command, but also how he approaches negotiations with the Cardassians. Like, oh my God, it feels like he's throwing a ball of gasoline on a bonfire.
Right.
And just it's very, very tense.
It is. Yeah. And it's because of him that Troy has to wear the Starfleet uniform.
Oh, yeah.
Which he keeps from then on out.
Well, let's discuss that real quick. I mean, do you like her in the dresses or the leotards, or do you prefer her in the uniform?
Well, I had seen that Marina Sirtis actually appreciated the change to a certain degree because it was a reminder that she had a command role on the bridge.
Yeah.
That she wasn't a supplementary character. And given how much damage she has to undo for each of these characters, she's a full-time job.
Yeah. I think I like her in the Starfleet uniform the most. Yeah. And I'm going to go back to what I said, I think a couple episodes ago, when Wesley Crusher got the Starfleet uniform, his character became so much better. Now, I'm not saying Troy was a bad character. By no means. Troy has been phenomenal. But when she gets the Starfleet uniform, she's taken a whole lot more seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. She starts acting like a Starfleet officer and not as just one of the civilians that's walking around. You know, she has rank. You know, that's one thing a lot of people don't realize. She had rank, and you know, she has the ability to command. And this kind of gave her that air of authority that I think the character really needed.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this the episode that establishes the Cardassians as the main villain for Deep Space Nine?
Yes, this is very important. Well, this was their final design was come up in this, but they also mentioned that they pulled out of the Bajoran sector, which is a major plot point in the first season of Deep Space Nine. So this was the first episode to air before the premiere of Deep Space Nine aired. So you know, having planting those seeds for the series was essential for them.
Yeah.
This is such an incredible two-parter, and I got to pile on the accolades for David Warner. Oh my God! Ever since I met him as evil in Time Bandits.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! And then Ra's al Ghul in Batman animated series. Perfect. Undiscovered Country. Absolutely loved it. And this one is like the icing on the cake. He is just so perfect in both of these parts, right through to the end of the second part, and you'll be captivated.
And remember, listeners, there are 4 lights. Right. Well, there's our first 3 selected episodes. And before we continue on, let's take a short break. And then we'll come back and dive right into what we have next for you in Starter Treks. Welcome back, everyone. We're beaming David in for our 4th episode of the list.
And that would be Ship in a Bottle. Directed by Alexander Singer, written by Renee Echeverria. Moriarty is back, reawakened by mistake when Lieutenant Barclay tries to repair and fix some issues with the holodeck. Upon his return, Moriarty, who is still self-aware, demands for his long overdue wish to be fulfilled. In the sequel to Elementary Dear Data, Moriarty wants to live out his life off the holodeck with further demands of allowing his one true love to be able to join him. He takes charge of the Enterprise and will not relinquish command until he receives what he desires. A bigger mystery is afoot than the crew of the Enterprise realizes. Guys, Daniel Davis is back as Moriarty, and man, does he blow it out of the water once again.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to bring a performance to somebody else who we've not talked about yet, but he's been on the Enterprise for a while, and that's Dwight Schultz as Barclay. We've not talked about him, guys. And he's been around. For those who know a lot about older television series, he played Murdoch from the A-Team. And he does such a good job acting strange and unusual. I think that's why he did Murdoch so well in the A-Team. But he does so good as Barclay as well. Would you guys agree?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely agree. Yeah, he's a fun character, and we really haven't talked much about him. None of the episodes just happen to be any of our choices, but we do love the character.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He has a lot of a lot of his character kind of reminds me of some of the things we've seen in Lower Decks, right?
Oh yeah,
people
absolutely.
that aren't automatically confident just because they wear the uniform, or because of the position they're in, and some real struggles with anxiety and confidence problems and things like that. It's very interesting that I see that mirrored in another character that I won't say who, because it's a spoiler, but one you wouldn't expect, and it's easy to kind of identify with what Barclay might be going through. I think there have been a lot of episodes where he really, really stands out. And I think he's a great addition to the show.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Now, remember back in our second episode for Phaser Set to Stun, I mentioned about the legal troubles between Paramount and the Conan Doyle estate. Well, obviously, with this episode, it's all been taken care of. It seems actually that the estate had no problems with the Next Generation. Their fight with Paramount was about the film Young Sherlock Holmes. And it was all a misunderstanding, and they were perfectly willing to license the use of the characters for Next Generation, which is, we got this episode, and I'm grateful that they did, because I love this episode. It's one of my favorites of the season. It's another fun episode. It's great seeing those characters back, and like David said, I love Daniel Davis as Moriarty. He is so fantastic. Most viewers know him from David. This is one of your favorite shows, isn't it? The Nanny. I remember you love that show.
You're funny. You're funny.
But I mean, he had a long run on that, and he does a great British accent. But he's not British. He's really? Actually, that's a fake accent. Yeah, he's actually from Arkansas.
Dang, he does a good job.
Interesting.
And there's another guest star I want to point out too, is Stephanie Beacham.
Oh yeah,
I love her. She's really known for her long run on Dynasty, but she also starred during the first season of one of my favorite sci-fi shows, Sequest DSV.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I loved her character as Dr. Westphalen. It's a pity she couldn't continue on, but here we got her, and she does a great job and is a great foil with Daniel Davis.
Apparently, she's deaf in one ear.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And there's like one of the scenes when she's talking to Picard, you can see her like kind of like leaning in to listen to what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
It's a pair of amazing characters, and the concept behind this one. There's I don't know if it's the final line, but one of the final lines in the episode conceptually just gets you to think a little differently about the episode.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is another one you can watch twice and interpret in different ways.
If you've ever seen the movie Inception, how that ends, this episode ends similar. It gets you thinking are we in that reality? What are we doing?
Right. Yep.
And this was the first episode that came on after that winter break. So when this episode aired, we'd already gotten 3 episodes of Deep Space Nine. So we are right in the middle of it. And also, another happy thought is that when Professor Moriarty mentions holding Dr. Pulaski hostage, this is the last mention of that character ever in Star Trek.
I imagine Pulaski and Jellicoe are probably happy as clams on a ship somewhere together.
That is a show I do not want to watch.
No.
Now, let's hear our 5th pick for season 6. Scott?
Yeah, this one is an amazing one called Tapestry. To paraphrase Charles Dickens, Picard was dead to begin with. This episode rushes us into a scene where Picard is on the brink of death after being shot, I believe, in his artificial heart. As he approaches a heavenly figure basked in a vast white light of the afterlife, he finds Q waiting to usher him to his eternal reward. Unless, which is always a word that precedes Q-based mischief, unless Picard makes a safer decision in his past that prevents him from ever needing his artificial heart. This episode gives us a look at a pivotal Lower Decks moment in Picard's youth, and a glimpse into the future that might have been if he had made different choices. It all weaves together for a fascinating episode and an important chapter in Picard's life. Written by Ronald D. Moore and Brandon Braga, directed again by Les Landau. I found it interesting to learn that producer Ronald D. Moore thought this was one of the best things he'd ever written and one of the show's finest episodes. I would agree with that assessment. I think this one is, aside from the fact that Picard is facing Q as God, which he just dismisses to a certain degree, but there's a fascinating twist in that that you learn about in the episode. But getting to see another aspect of Picard, getting to see him in his youth and being, I'd say, a lot more reckless than he is nowadays. Would you agree?
You do not even imagine what Picard was like at that age. When you realize who he was and what we've gotten used to, it's like, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, very weird, especially to see him, interacting with women in various ways, and you're just kind of like, oh, really? All right.
Yeah, he's really grown over time.
Yes, big time. Wesley, the actor Will Wheaton, who played Wesley Crusher, as we know, he doesn't have any appearances in the sixth season. He commented, "My favorite episode of Next Generation is Tapestry. And it is a really great example how everything that happens in our lives, even the shitty things, help us shape us into the people we are." Yeah. And he is absolutely right. This is a fantastic episode. Marta, played by J.C. Brandy, Zweller, who was played by Ned Vaughn, who I swear could have been played by Eric Stoltz. It really could have. Yeah. They all did a fantastic job of how the events take place and how they do. And Picard making those decisions, very similar to like Scrooge. I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of like a Christmas Carol. If you think about it in that way.
That's funny you say that, because that's actually was the original intention for this episode, was to be a Christmas Carol type episode. There were going to be 3 events. I think one of them was Jack Crusher's death on the Stargazer and Picard's young childhood in France. But I don't think the producer liked it, and they thought it was too much for an hour episode, so they trimmed it down.
Yeah, which I think was a good choice. I think there's 2 kind of chapters of this one. I guess maybe 3. But it's very important that they focus on each of these things, and that you get to see some regrets from Picard in different ways in this one. And very interesting how he learns that the choices that he makes in his life make a big difference. I think it's one of the most clever uses of laughter I've ever heard of in Star Trek. I think it was a brilliant plot device. And I've got to say, I really enjoyed the Nausicaans. Especially the way they say Domjot.
I think my favorite line in the episode is when Q was, kept probing at Picard, as he always does. But he's, getting into what he regrets, and all that. And he finally said, "My only regret is dying and finding you here."
Yep.
And this is Q's second appearance for the season, but he actually had another appearance just the week before this episode aired. He was on Deep Space Nine on the episode Q-less, and he even mentions in that episode that he believes he should pay Jean-Luc a call, which he did.
He does.
Right here it is.
Yep.
And guys, I'm sorry, he doesn't look good in blue.
No,
I was so thrown off by that. I'm like, I don't like this. It feels dirty.
It was kind of pitiful, actually.
It was.
The way he had pretty much ruined everything. Let all the opportunities slip by. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
All right, our 6th pick is the second of the 2-parters, Birthright, written by Brannon Braga and Renee Echevarria, and Part 1 was directed by Winrich Colby, and Part 2 by Dan Curry. This originally aired on February 20th and 27th, 1993. The Enterprise makes a layover stop at Deep Space Nine to assist with repairing the Bajoran aqueducts. During their stay, Dr. Julian Bashir asks Data and LaForge for help with an artifact discovered in the Gamma Quadrant. And during their experiments, Data is zapped by a strange energy discharge, which causes him to experience dreams of his creator, Dr. Noonien Song. Meanwhile, Worf has problems of his own when an alien approaches him with evidence that his father, Moog, believed to be long dead, is still alive and being held in a Romulan prison camp. Now, as I said, this is the second of the two-parters this season. This is a big one, too. Yeah. And this is the first multi-series crossover take place with Deep Space Nine. This is something that they were hoping to do every year. didn't work out that way. They kind of did a little bit of it during season 7, but makes you wonder if they had actually thought that season 7 was going to be the end. Maybe they had planned on it
could be continuing
even farther. Yep. And we got one character from Deep Space Nine, Dr. Bashir, but Jadzia Dax was actually supposed to appear in this episode as well.
Yep.
But she was busy filming Move Along Home, that's an episode during the first season, and couldn't work the schedule out. Which she was rather upset that she couldn't be in the episode, and I don't blame her. I'd rather do this episode than Move Along Home. It's very well known that's one of my least favorite episodes of the series.
Yep.
I want to mention, because I find the guest stars of all the episodes really interesting, some of the best things that I enjoy the most. The character of Shrek, not the ogre Shrek, the alien trader. That's played by James Cromwell.
Yeah.
We see him later on, big part in Star Trek First Contact. He played Zefram Cochrane.
Yep.
And then we also got Richard Hurd. He's a fantastic character actor. Another one of those that pretty much has appeared in everything back in the 80s and the 90s. He plays the Klingon Lakor in part 2. He was some of the things he's done. He was the visitor leader on V. He was Admiral Noyce on Sequest DSV. He would return and play Admiral Paris, Tom Paris's father on Voyager in quite a few episodes.
And Scott and I just recently talked about the China Syndrome. At a film at 45 that he was in.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. See, he's everywhere.
He is.
And he's a great actor. I mean, I can understand why he had no problems getting jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they made this one a two-parter, because there's so much to unpack.
There is.
Absolutely so much to unpack. I loved Julian Bashir in this one.
Absolutely.
His presence, I think, was a great kind of bridge with DS9.
Yeah.
And the introduction where he's kind of like tinkering with stuff that he's not supposed to. They kind of chastise him for it.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing, man? Come on. You know better than this. It always gets us in trouble. So I know this is a two-parter, but please don't chastise me when I say this, but I feel like the first part was a whole lot stronger than the second part. I know you're dealing with a lot more of the Worf stuff in part 2. I love the Data stuff. I love the dream sequences that we got with Data and him exploring that part about himself. I felt like they should have maybe given us a little bit more if they could have, so that would have extended into part 2. Maybe that would have taken away from Worf's story a little bit. There was some good stuff in part 2. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like the first part was a lot.
I agree, and I'm glad you brought that up, because this is a two-parter, but it feels like two separate episodes. I mean, the part 1 is mostly about Data and his dreams, and while Worf's story starts, there's very little of it there, with the exception of like the very end of the episode. And then episode 2, none of Data's story is in there, and it's all Worf. It is a two-parter, but barely hanging together.
Yep. And I think it's fascinating to see like the depth and the complexity of Data's character, and how much has been programmed in that he isn't even aware of, that Dr. Soong, engineered him with. There's a great look at that in the first part. And the second part is a lot of resolution, it seems like, and it is progress for Worf, but it doesn't seem like it's as much growth maybe as we see with Data.
Yeah. And it brings up another thing about Worf in the second episode, because I don't want to give too much away, but does Worf really cross a line in that episode on what he does?
In
Think
terms
about
of
that.
Prime directive kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. I really like the Data dream sequence. I think they're beautifully shot, very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to point out that the final shot when he's flying like the bird, that shot of the Enterprise is gorgeous.
It is.
It's the only time that shot is ever seen. Usually most of the visual effects are reused, but this was specially shot for the episode. It is a beautiful shot of the Enterprise that you usually don't see from that angle.
Yeah.
And the music from that sequence too, that was done by Jay Chataway, absolutely fantastic. He used a wind machine which is something that I always familiar with the Wind Machine from Jerry Goldsmith used it really prominently in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and he used it here, and it just highlights that scene.
Yeah, and you're talking about the shots for the dream sequences with Data. I love that almost fisheye look of like the camera's like floating behind him as he's walking down the hallway of the ship before he sees Dr. Noonsung. I love that shot. That was so cool.
All right, the next episode, our 7th on our list, is being wrangled by David.
This episode is The Chase, directed by, of course, none other than Jonathan Frakes, written by Joe Menosky. Professor Galen surprises Captain Picard, and with him he brings the chance of a lifetime. The professor is on an archaeological mission of major significance, and he wants Picard to join him. However, there is more to this mission as it brings an ancient mystery waiting to be solved that could possibly be the greatest discovery in history. With Picard denying the professor's request, an incident occurs, forcing him and the Enterprise into the search, which puts them on a direct path with the Cardassians, Romulans, and the Klingons, who are all after the same thing. One of the things that they didn't talk about in Rascals is when they were on the shuttle on their way back to the Enterprise before the incident happens, how giddy Picard was when he was talking about the art items he had found. We get that again here when Professor Galen brings that gift to him, and Picard like freaks out when he realizes what it was and that it's all intact. I love seeing that from Picard because you're getting to see his human side. You're not seeing just the captain side. You're getting to see the part of him that he's like a kid, like we all do. We love things like Star Trek. We get giddy about it. You get to see that out of Picard right here, and I thought that was really neat for his character development.
And that artifact, he lights up when he sees that. He just absolutely loves that artifact. But does he really like that artifact? Because it comes back, and we see it in Star Trek Generations, and he picks it up and he just throws it like it's garbage onto the ground. And then it reappears again. We see it again in Star Trek Picard, and there it is. I mean, maybe he had a change of heart. Remember, what the heck was I doing? Why did I throw that down? And flew all the way back to the planet and got it. I have questions. I need the answers to these.
Again, maybe the shield were up. I don't know.
It's the degradation. It's all about the degradation. Yeah, I thought this was an interesting archaeological mystery that kind of unravels. And it really digs into that aspect of Picard's character, which I think is fascinating. You get so many players that step into this trying to vie for whatever this could possibly be, and I think the resolution was great.
Oh yeah,
there's one guest star in this, Salome Jens, if I'm saying the right name right, as a character. I can't tell you who it is, but this actress comes back in Deep Space Nine in a big way.
Oh yeah,
and I thought that character in DS9 was absolutely fascinating. So I liked seeing a little taste of that character here.
Yeah,
and she's not the only actual big name guest star on this. We got 2 British actresses on this show. We have Linda Thorson, who she's best known for playing Tara King during the final 2 years of the Avengers, the 60s spy series, which that's another show I absolutely love. And then playing the Romulan is Maurice Roves.
Yep.
I know him because he played the smuggler Stotts in Peter Davison's final story, The Case of Androzani, on Doctor Who back in 1984. His voice is easily recognizable, even through all that makeup.
I know him as Colonel Monroe from The Last of the Mohicans.
Yes, that's right. I forgot he was in that film. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, it's time once again to take a break. Stay tuned, and we'll be back after these important messages. Welcome back, everyone, and we're going to continue with our 8th pick. Scott, tell us what that is.
So our number 8 pick is an episode called Frame of Mind. Anyone who's a fan of Riker and Jonathan Frakes should pay special attention to this episode. We open with a scene where Riker plays a character in one of Dr. Crusher's theatrical productions. His character is defending his sanity as he continues to lose his own tenuous grip on reality. But soon it becomes hard to tell the difference between that character and Riker himself. He begins to question if his life on the Enterprise was ever real at all, or if it was all an elaborate fantasy that he created to live with his guilt. If any of these personalities is going to survive, The others must be destroyed and dismissed as nothing more than fantasy. It's an episode that has both the performer and us as an audience questioning what's real, and a sure sign of overtime in Troy's future, if she even exists at all. Written by Brandon Braga and Renee Echeverria, directed by James L. Conway. Interesting that this is the first episode directed by Conway since the first season finale of The Neutral Zone. It's quite a long stretch.
Oh, yeah, that is.
Yeah.
And I saw that Jonathan Frakes has said that this is something he considers to be a really dark episode that was terrifying and creepy to do.
I can see why.
Yeah. It's a big show for him to carry, and I think he does so beautifully. Mm-hmm. It's one of those episodes that messes with your mind as a viewer and the character's mind. And like I said, I don't know how Troy is ever getting any sleep with the number of issues that she has to unpack.
And this is another episode where it feels like Inception again at the end. You're like, what do I believe? I mean, Jonathan Frakes does an incredible job of making it look like he is losing his mind and getting you to believe in that. Man, such a really good performance on him. And Wayne, you talk about guests. Here we have Andrew Prine, who plays Suna. Wayne, you and I will know him as Brigadier General Richard Garnett in Gettysburg.
Yes, that's right.
But he's done a lot of stuff. Andrew Prine has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. He was on V as well. You know, we got a lot of V guest stars. I agree with both of you. I think personally, this is probably one of Jonathan Frakes' strongest performances in the entire series.
Yeah.
It really is terrifying. It's one of those episodes that we really didn't think about when it first aired. You know, seeing the commercials, but then, we watched it and it was like, wow, this really blew our mind.
Mm-hmm.
When doing my research, I found out this was written at the last minute. They only had 3 days to write this episode. It was a replacement for another script that fell through, and I'm like, wow, that's phenomenal to write something like that.
Yeah.
No kidding. One of the things I really love in this is going back to the comedic beats again. When Picard and Riker are together and they're talking about Riker thinking that he might have to back out of the performance for Beverly Crusher. And, Picard knows what's going on with this conversation and talks him back into, no, you need to do it. He says, if you back out, she'll come after me.
Yeah. I imagine Crusher probably takes a hiatus on productions after this one, especially with the reactionary shot that we see at the ending of this episode is fascinating.
It is
goes to a pretty deep place. The only thing that kind of sticks with me, and the only, I guess, ding of this one is, considering the special effects of the era, there are some places where it seems like, 90s PowerPoint kind of special effects.
Yeah.
But all in all, you get Riker with crazed hair and just at the frayed ends of sanity. Like, I don't know how he got through this one, but yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Definitely one of the darkest episodes of the entire series.
For sure.
All right, we're moving closer to our finish line. Here is our 9th pick, and I'll give you that one. Timescape. Written by Brandon Braga and directed by Adam Nimoy. This originally aired on June 14th, 1993. Returning from a conference by Runabout, Picard, Troy, LaForge, and Data discover the Enterprise frozen in time in mid-battle with the Romulan warbird. Beaming on board, they discover that the crew have also been affected, and that the Romulans have boarded and the Enterprise's warp core has begun to explode. Further investigations discover that time is not frozen still, but moving at an incredibly slow pace, and starting it up again would mean the destruction of the ship and everyone on board. This is an interesting episode. This fell way at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of sci-fi elements going for it. You got your time travel theory, some really, really cool visual effects. It doesn't.
Absolutely.
They sound simple. Nobody's moving around. The ship's ever frozen in time, but it really makes for a striking shot when you put it against the moving characters. This is the first time we see the Danube class runabout on Next Generation that was built for Deep Space Nine,
which is my favorite shuttlecraft, by the way.
I
agree.
Love the
runabout.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a larger shuttlecraft, and it's able to go to warp. The reason they used it on this show was they were trying to save a little bit of money on Deep Space Nine, and they needed the Next Generation to use some of their budget to build the sets. So they built the Runabout set, and then Deep Space Nine never used it. they never used it. Yeah. But I got to point out my favorite part of the episode. It's such a little thing, but when Picard begins to suffer the effects of the time displacement, and he they're in the engineering and they see the warp core is exploding. There's a big cloud of steam coming out, and he just starts laughing. It's this giggle, and the camera turns to him and he's drawn a smiley face in this steam. I mean, I love that. That makes me crack up every time.
Yeah. Well, and then he gets it together. Yeah, then he gets it together again and starts laughing again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. But then he has this like breakdown. He's like, this is hilarious. No, I won't do it.
Yeah.
The range they have in this one is fantastic. I got to give credit to the rest of the cast in each of these scenes to just be frozen for so long in place.
Yeah.
It's a very a lot of episodes in this season in particular have a kind of a Twilight Zone aspect to it. Like these conceptual ideas that really, really kind of draw you in and get you thinking about that kind of concept well beyond the end of the episode. This one's absolutely fascinating, especially when you see all of the pieces that they're kind of unpacking. Like when you see the exterior of the ships and what's going on between the ships and them having to kind of figure some things out in the middle of a warp core breach. How I think it's Data mentions that he can see it moving at this infinitesimal rate,
right?
But it's still happening. Like everything's still unfolding. It's absolutely fascinating.
And the whole mystery thing when they go on the ship and you see people in certain positions, so it looks like something else, but it's actually another thing when you realize what's going on. Same, with Beverly Crusher, all of that stuff is just so cool. How they, like you said, how they unpack this, and then you realize the truth behind all of it. It's really neat.
Great.
Yep. And Troy gets a lot to do in this episode too. It kind of harks back to her time that she spent on the Romulan ship back in last season with. That was this season. Excuse me. That was earlier this season in Face of the Enemy, which is another really good episode. But didn't quite make our top 10, but definitely worth watching. Just to enjoy Troy and a great episode.
And one thing we learned is clearly Riker and Spot do not get along.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
I love Spot.
Me too.
Finally, we're going on to our 10th and final choice for Starter Treks. David, you have the honor of closing us out.
And this is the season finale to Season 6, Descent Part 1, directed by Alexander Singer and written by Ronald D. Moore. In responding to a distress signal, the crew of the Enterprise are surprised to find a ship they do not recognize. Upon searching the outpost, the away team discover who exactly is responsible for the death of all the Federation officers within, the Borg. During the brief fight in the outpost, Data does something he has never done before, shows emotion by getting angry. The crew also discovers something else. The Borg they encounter show signs of individualism, which brings a new set of problems for the Enterprise, the Federation, and most of all, Data. This is another great performance by by Brent Spiner, that we have talked about over and over and over. One of the things that I found very amusing is the opening scene where Data is playing poker with Einstein, Newton, and of course, Stephen Hawking. Such a fun scene there. And apparently Stephen Hawking had a blast doing this.
Oh, yeah.
They got to show him around the set and all that kind of stuff, but getting to be in the episode too. What I found out in doing some research on this episode is that he asked if he could be in the captain's chair. So they actually took him out of his wheelchair and put him into the captain's chair of the Enterprise. That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that is.
That's cool.
But no,
you can tell he's having a lot of fun in that poker game.
Absolutely.
They give him great dialogue too.
Yep, they do.
Einstein and Isaac Newton. I think it's fantastic.
And that was a big thing too. I mean, they advertised the heck out of his appearance. I remember it was on TV Guide. It was on Entertainment Tonight. I mean, we knew he was going to be there, and it didn't disappoint. I love that scene too.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about the ending of this because it is a two-parter. It's a cliffhanger. Do not look at anything related to this episode before you watch it. Please, right. God, don't look at anything. But I don't know why. I find this an absolutely fascinating two-parter, considering why they think this is happening to the Borg, and considering what we kind of hear from them. There's a change in their weapons, right? There's a lot of changes to them. I had mentioned a while ago there was an actor, Brian Cousins, that plays Croesus on this one. I think he gives an amazing performance as one of the Borg. Yeah. We're definitely seeing a change in them. We're definitely seeing an evolution, and the changes and the evolution in Data is at times pretty chilling.
Oh yeah,
there's an amazing bit of dialogue between Data and Troy, and when you hear it, like, and you know what I'm talking about, he kind of begrudgingly talks about one of the feelings that he had.
Yeah.
And it goes right to commercial, and you're like, did we just hear what we thought we heard?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So here's my problem with this. So you know what's going on with Data, right? Yeah. The crew of the Enterprise knows he's struggling with this, and he has shown an emotion for the first time. Do you think it's a good idea leaving him with the Borg?
No.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
There's something about this episode that drives me insane, the first part. So let me ask the two of you, what is up with the opening credits to this episode? Did you guys notice this? I mean, it's the only episode ever in Star Trek to do this, but the guest and writer credits are like right as the episode opens up in the teaser, before the name of the show, before the opening title sequence with the cast.
Oh, you're right.
It's just so weird. They never did it before. They never did it again. It's like a mistake that someone got things mixed up, or there was some like last minute editing to move something around. I mean, that would be my guess, but I've never, in all the years of my research and everything, actually found an answer to that.
It had to be a mistake, and they just don't admit it.
Yeah.
It has to be.
They were trying something new, and it didn't fit.
It didn't work.
Well, let's just not do that again.
It didn't work.
No, not at all. One of the scenes, too, I loved in this, too, was when Picard got really angry at Riker. You know, that conversation that they had. Yeah. Again, you know, those two characters really respect one another. And even after that blow up, you know Riker's like, yeah, I get it. You know, I understand where you're coming from with this. And they still respect one another. They just... They have to talk it out, and I like that between those two characters.
Oh yeah.
I gotta mention Natalia Nogolic as Admiral Nechayev.
Yeah.
Wow. We've seen Admiral Nechayev before. I think in this season, and the performance, the dialogue again between her and Picard, was very, very interesting, and I think Jeff in particular will find it a very, very interesting bit of dialogue there.
Our conversation about Hugh?
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep, and she comes back too, not only next season but in Deep Space Nine as well. She becomes one of the reoccurring admirals, which is kind of nice to see, because usually it was always a new admiral every time.
Yeah, it's nice to have that consistency, so you get it back over and over again, so it feels real. You know. Yeah.
And there's our list. We've talked about our top 10 episodes of Season 6 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. So now let's take a sidestep and chat about some of our favorite character moments. We're working our way through the entire command crew, and now for Season 6, we're going to talk about what we think is our favorite moments for the Enterprise's resident counselor, Lieutenant Commander Deanna Troi. Scott, what's your pick?
It's hard to pick out which one, but there are some amazing badass moments from Troi. I think
the Hoffman
in an episode, in Face of the Enemy, where she's basically on a Romulan ship, posing as a Romulan, but the way that she just takes command, takes authority in those situations where she is in a lot of danger, but she steps into that role, and I think we're seeing more authority from Deanna. We're seeing a build on some of the leadership abilities that she showed in Disaster, and I just loved that dialogue. Dave, what about you?
So I'll feed off of that. My favorite Troi moment is, and we kind of touched on it, was in Timescape, showing her brilliance in regards to the Romulan ship. she is even leaned on by Picard in regards to this. We're getting to see her in that commanding role and being utilized more in that capacity. That's what I loved about it. We talked about it already in this episode. She put that Starfleet uniform on, and she has become a different person almost. She's been important to the cast this whole time. We know that. We're not going to deny that. But getting to see her now as part of that command structure, so that she's making decisions, she's being leaned on to be helped with important stuff like this, just shows how much they have moved her character forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to echo you, Scott. I got to say it's from Face of the Enemy. This is an hour of Troy at her finest, in my opinion. She's been kidnapped, altered to look like a Romulan, and she's forced to act like a member of the Tal Shiar. She's in one of the most dangerous situations in her life, and at first in the episode she gets pushed around by the Romulans that are helping her, but then she gets to her wit's end. She takes charge and she becomes that Romulan persona. It's a marvelous performance by Marina Sirtis. And we, like you said, we get to see her in a command situation, which we continue to see through this season and the next season. And I like that. I'm glad, you realize how important of a character Troy is. You brought it up many times, Scott. Look at all the work she's got to do. She's got an entire crew, over 1,000 people. Their mental state is her responsibility, and she shines. And this is one of the episodes where she shines the most.
I agree.
Now it's time we get to talk about our least favorite episode of the season. Now, listeners out there, you may like the episodes we choose, and that's okay. Everyone's allowed to have their favorites and their least favorites. But here are some of our least favorites from season 6. So, David, what is your choice for least favorite?
Mine would be episode 13, Aquiel. Enterprise arrives to a station to find an admiral's dog, and then they discover Lieutenant Aquiel later found with the Klingons, which she's accused of murder. And then Geordi falls in love with her by just listening to her audio logs before he really even meets her. This episode just did not click for me. I love to see an episode about Geordi LaForge. I want more and more of him. But this episode just did not work for me, guys.
Yeah, I second that. Can we not give Geordi a break once?
Yeah,
when it comes to relationships, please. It's a little painful. I know that Ronald D. Moore had said of everything with Next Generation, he would not have written Aquiel.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. Yeah. Wayne, what do you think?
I'll make it unanimous. It's Aquiel. Which, wow. The whole story of Geordi falls in love, has been accused of murdering someone. That doesn't sit right with me.
No.
I just don't see how Geordi can fall in love with that girl. I just don't see it in the story, and I find his interest in her, kind of on the creepy side, really, to tell you the truth. There's no chemistry between them either.
There's not.
It just doesn't work. We usually avoid telling spoilers on these podcasts, but I'm going to spoil this episode for you because you don't need to see this. The dog did it. You don't have to go watch that episode, all right? Although I'm sure our producer Jeff will probably go and watch this one right away.
He will, because of that.
You're wrong. The dog is the star of the show.
There you have it. Another episode of Starter Treks for your enjoyment. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us for our top 10 picks of the Next Generation Season 6. And we appreciate everyone listening in and supporting us. David, Scott, thank you so much for joining me through this jaunt through time.
Fantastic. As always.
Yep. Thanks, Wayne.
And of course, hailing frequencies are always open for you to share your thoughts and questions on social. Let me know what you think about our choices and share your thoughts on what you think should have been in the top 10. Who knows? You might get a mention on a future show. You can email us at afilmbypodcast@gmail.com. Find us online at afilmbypodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you're looking for more exclusive content or swag, you can join our Patreon and find out what exclusive gems are hidden within. Hey, only one more season to go, folks. We'll see you next time when we bring you more Phasers Set to Stun.